Welcome to a new episode of MLM Renegade. Today, guys, this one's going to hit a little bit close to home, but we're going to talk about being disappointed. So here's the million-dollar question. How are network marketers like us, who've tried everything their upline ever suggested to be successful, and yet still struggled, who grew up with technology and aren't stuck in the 20th century, how are we supposed to grow our downlines and our bank accounts, and yet still have time for real life? My name is J.R. McKee. Join me as we explore how to use 21st century learning and technology to grow our downlines and build lasting wealth. Simply put, this is MLM done different. Welcome to MLM Renegade. So first off, I want to thank everybody who's really provided me with some great feedback about kind of the direction of the podcast and some of the things that they like and some of the things that they would hope to hear. And so I just want to let you know I really appreciate that. It is this podcast is a bit of a labor of love, and I really enjoy the creative outlet that it gives me. Today at our house, we had something kind of frustrating happen and kind of sad. So my youngest daughter tried out for the high school cheerleading squad. Now, she has been performing on an all-star cheer team for about 5 years now. So I mean, cheerleading is not new to her. In fact, she does very well. This year has been really rough. She's suffered a couple of injuries. She had some issues with her back, and it was difficult. And we were worried about how it was going to work out with the cheer tryouts and how would she be able to tumble. And she even had a little bit of a mental block with her tumbling. So much of tumbling especially is very, very much just the belief and the trust in your body to be able to do it and do it safely. And she had lost some of that belief. And over the last week, though, she's been preparing. She's been working hard. They had both a cheer and a dance and then some tumbling that she had to do for this tryout. And our high school is pretty large. And she's going to be a freshman. And so, and the high school generally is 10 through 12. So she's still going to be in the junior high school or in the middle school, but is a freshman, or will be in the fall. And so she was trying out and she thought that she had a really good chance. And we all thought that she actually had a really great chance. And one of the things that she didn't do was a back tuck, a back somersault, and she has done it in the past, and that was a little bit where that mental block came in. Well, she didn't do that during her tryout this morning, and this afternoon we actually got the results of the tryouts, and they named the team, and sadly she wasn't on the list. And it brought me back a lot, frankly, to my own days in junior high and high school, where I tried out for teams and thought that I had performed my best, and it just wasn't good enough. Whether that was on a baseball team or a soccer team, it happened a few times to me. And I look back on it now, and it was an opportunity for me to learn and to grow. And I hope that given some years that she will be able to recognize this as that sort of opportunity as well. But right now, it's really raw, and it really hurts. And I got to thinking about that, about disappointment and the effect that it can have on our psyches as we are working towards goals. So much of what we do is just getting it's how we react to what happens around us. I had a sales manager once say that we were going to celebrate failures, and it was kind of an aha moment for me, because this celebration of failure gives me an opportunity to learn from that failure, and that sometimes the celebrations and the things that are good don't necessarily have a positive outcome. And so, being distraught as my daughter is, or being frustrated with an outcome that was less than we had desired, can be a very good thing. I've talked a lot about the book, The Obstacle is the Way. Well, for her, we think, and we don't know, it's very early still, but we think that maybe not throwing that back tuck was actually what stopped her from making the squad this year. Now, it should be very much emphasized, and I worked with this with with my daughter before she tried out. I'm like, I made her promise. I'm like, look, I want you to promise me that you're going to try out for the cheer squad as a sophomore. Now she's a freshman, and she would have to retry out if she had made the team, and she'd have to try out again if she didn't make the team. And so I wanted to get her that commitment from her, and she gave it to me. But that commitment, takes some work, and we feel like being able to perform this skill, which she's had and done in the past, and she could have attempted today, but she didn't. And we feel like that might actually be the obstacle that held her back. And overall, I look at those things as, what could I have done more? Did I leave it all out on the field? Did I really take into account what my very, very best was and give that very best? I've had some experiences recently in the realm of personal development where I've really tried to re-examine how I approach different situations, how I look at contentious situations, or how I deal with difficult people. And sometimes they need to be dealt with head on. And this is according to JR, right? This is my beliefs. Sometimes they need to be dealt with head on, and sometimes they just need to be avoided. And sometimes, choosing not to choose is definitely a choice, and it can be the right choice at times. In football, sometimes you got to punt. Sometimes you just do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and that's how the game is played. That's in football, that's why the punt exists. But in business and in life, knowing when to punt is difficult. Knowing when to leave it all out there is difficult. Now, I remember having a T-shirt as a teenager that was, no fear brand, and it said, go all out or don't go out at all. And I tried to live by that a little bit. Now, I look back on it now and realized I don't think I actually did. But I'm trying even more so now to leave everything out on the field, to figure out what it is that I need to learn from a situation and get that learning from it. As I have the opportunity to coach youth baseball right now, it's been really interesting to see the different levels of these 11 different boys that I work with, one of them being my own son and 10 others who aren't, and how I coach them and how I can get through to them. We have one kid who is just a giant of a player, and he is crazy good. He pitches incredibly fast for his age group. In batting practice, he can hit the cover off the ball. Well, in a regular game, he has yet to get a hit. Through 6 games thus far, he's yet to get a hit. And I know that as soon as he does, the ball is going to go a country mile. But until then, he has that doubt. And that doubt is what creeps in and causes so much frustration. I know that my daughter has some of this frustration. She will have to get over that self-doubt that happened to her. She talked recently about actually running for student government at the junior high. And we're excited for her to do that, but also the idea in the back of her mind that, oh no, what if after having this setback, she suffers another setback? And I had to step back and just realize, I'm like, hey, look, we cannot live in the what if something negative happens space. We have to live in the what if it all goes right space. That positive outlook, that growth mindset, that willingness to be happy with what's in front of you, even if it's not the result that you maybe wanted, is a superpower. And it's a power that gives us the opportunity to learn and to grow from every situation, whether we win or we learn. And I use that a lot with the kids I coach, is that, look, we either win or we learn. We had a baseball tournament here last weekend, actually, and half of it ended up getting rain/snowed out. We woke up to like 3 inches of snow on the ground on Saturday morning, which is never a welcome sight for a baseball tournament. But the first 2 games, we played a team that was really good, and we lost, but we held them scoreless into the 4th inning. Like, it was a darn good baseball game. And the second game, we came from behind and won. And what I learned about this team is that we can be a darn good team. And frankly, if we go 500, if we win one and lose one throughout the rest of the season, I'm going to feel pretty good about that, because the opportunities to learn are there. Last year we were on a team that won handedly a lot. Beating teams 20 to 1 or 20 to 2 or 30 to 3. And those sort of games, we just don't learn anything. In fact, after the first or second inning, it kind of, as a parent, you start to feel bad for the kids on the other side because they were just totally outmatched. And that didn't offer the learning experience when you're up that far. And so I try and look at it for my business, for my job, for my life, for my marriage, and for rearing my children. I try and think of it as, what can I learn from the situation? What can I glean from this opportunity? And how can I apply that to future opportunities so that I can make the best decisions and make the best outcomes for my desired goals? And that growth mindset, it's hard. It's hard to come by. It's hard to cultivate it. It is a difficult thing to be positive in the face of adversity and to accept adversity as a positive thing. I always preach that in baseball, if you go 1 for 3 every game, all of a sudden you become a Hall of Fame player if you're in the pros. A 333 batting average is incredibly high. But in life, 33% on an exam is abysmal, and failing 70% of the time is not a good thing, generally speaking. In baseball, it's amazing. That's one of the reasons I love the game, is that anything that teaches you that much about adversity and that the ability and willingness to overcome difficult situations is something that we should practice more often. So this week, as you're looking at things that are difficult, as you're looking at opportunities that may feel a lot more like a setback, look for that silver lining. Look for the positivity in the adversity, and look at getting knocked down on your backside as an opportunity to jump back up and get better with each time that you fall down. Fall down 7 times and get up 8. That really is, and keep going. Those 2 things are, if you can complete those, and it's hard, but if you can do those small things, you'll have an edge for the rest of your life. That's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Please, any feedback that you have, I'd love to hear it. Hit me up at jr@mlmrenegade.com. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe. And if you loved us, leave us an awesome review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Now, if you'd like some free training for your team on how your recruiting efforts can be bettered and brought into the 21st century, go to podcast.mlmrenegade.com and get your copy of the Renegade Recruiting Kickstarter.